Bit of a warning that we're going to be talking about mental health over the next few minutes, and specifically the issue of students who take their own lives at university. Now, obviously, it is a really important subject to talk about, but if you're with young children or if it's something you think you might get upset by, then you might just want to go away, turn the radio down just for a few minutes. But the reason we're talking about it is because a petition closes today calling on the government to try to bring in a statutory duty of care for students to try to prevent deaths by suicide. It's been put together by the Learn Network, which is made up of bereaved families. More than 100,000 people have so far signed it, meaning the government will now consider the issue for a parliamentary debate. Hilary Grimes' 20-year-old daughter, Phoebe, took her own life while at university in June 2021, and Hilary is now one of those campaigning for the change. Hilary, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
First of all, we should give you all of our sympathy, all of our thoughts, because I'm sure that it doesn't get any easier the longer the time goes on. But maybe we can just get you to tell us about Phoebe. What was she like?
Well, first of all, it's a very poignant day today, being Mother's Day. It's my second Mother's Day without Phoebe's, and a sad day for so many of us mothers who've lost children, and not just to suicide. I'd like to think that it helps me to think that we stand by each other, bow our heads and hold our hands and support each other, and united as we know how devastating and hard it is to lose a child. So Phoebe, she was fantastic. She always made a fuss of family events and organised everything. So probably would have had breakfast in bed today. But my son's absolutely fantastic. So I'm really grateful to them. So Phoebe's had massive energy and enthusiasm and passion. She was just great fun, up for everything. But she was also extremely kind, and I think she found the harshness of this world too difficult to cope with. But I'm going to carry on her voice to make change, and I carry her with me every second of the day. That helps me. She
sounds like an extraordinary person, and I'm sure you were incredibly proud of her. And as you say, it's something that as a parent you can't even begin to imagine what it's like to lose a child. You know, for me personally, I very much feel that. And you want to protect your child more than anything, don't you, really? And how hard was that for you to know that when she went to university, it's harder to protect your child because they're that much further away?
Well, what's ironic is that you sort of think that, Phoebe left with love in her heart, and she knew how much she was loved, and we knew how much she loved us. But actually, love doesn't save you. It's hope that saves you. And the fact that Phoebe had lost all hope at that moment at that time is really, really hard to hear. So we knew Phoebe was unhappy at uni, but not to the extent, nowhere near to the extent that she'd ever consider taking her life. One of the things that started me on this was that the university knew that Phoebe already had a previous suicide plan involving paracetamol, and she also spoke to somebody 20 hours before she took her life, saying that she wished the pain to end and put her hand on her heart. And that was the last adult she saw. So, of course, we knew none of this. And, Phoebe fell through many, many gaps. And I believe that she'd be here today, along with my other colleagues and friends at the Learn Network. We believe our children would be here today if the right thing had been done. You'll see a common thread. There are so many missed opportunities to save our children at unis, and it's hard to live with. But we're determined to make change for the future.
We should say, shouldn't we, that the coroner at Phoebe's inquest said that they didn't consider that the university had done anything wrong. Said, in short, having considered things very carefully, I cannot identify any point where things should have been done differently for Phoebe by anybody involved in her support. But I suppose the part of the issue, and the issue that you're highlighting with your petition, is that it's complex, isn't it, with universities, because at the age of 18, students are considered adults, so there isn't a requirement. We as parents, even though we might feel like we have responsibility for them, we don't have that responsibility in the same way.
No, I mean, there's all sorts of bits and pieces there, but I'm sort of like conscious of time, and I really want to say some things. So, yes, the coroner said that, but that was just for me, just so frustrating, because actually the university taken my number. It's in their notes. They'd taken my number and said they'd call me, and the fact that they didn't contact me once, it's just totally not acceptable. But to be absolutely clear, there is no legal duty of care in higher education. There's no statutory or common law, no precedents. There's nothing written. There is no law. So the government says that universities have a general duty of care, but it's not legal. And this is just confusing. And this general duty of care didn't save our children, which is why we need change. And it's also an issue of student rights and parity. Students attending uni should have the same rights as a young person starting their first job, or the same rights as the staff at uni. And there's such a lack of commitment and drive to address this issue, but it's just got to happen. Hence our petition.
And the petition has gone past 100,000 signatures now. So what do you make of that? How do you feel about that?
So I feel quite emotional about that, especially sort of it's the end of it today. That seems bizarre. It's Mother's Day as well, but we're just, so grateful and so over the moon for all the support that we've had. It's just been really, really overwhelming, and it's support not just there was we've had support and encouragement, we've had compassion and love, but also we've had a phenomenal amount of shared stories of other tragedies, and we've been shocked at so many horror stories at our unis. If you see any of our social media, anyone from the Learn Network, you'll see how many people have contacted us and shared things, which just motivates us even more to make change. But there's a long way to go, and I'm really, really grateful if people would still sign the petition today, because the more numbers, just the better. It's just the better. So if you can go to the learnnetwork.org and click on the petition link and sign it, on this Mother's Day, we'd be so grateful for that. So the petition is calling for a debate for a legal duty of care in academic and support services, so that universities act reasonably to protect the health, safety and welfare of our students. And we need a clear legal safeguarding framework.
Sorry, Hilary, I just wanted to read you what the Department for Education say in response to your petition. They say that there is already a general duty of care, and they say that figures show that there is a significantly lower suicide rate in students compared with the wider population of similar age. It says it therefore feels further legislation to create a statutory duty of care where such a duty already exists would be a disproportionate response. What do you say to them?
I say that's really, really misleading, because it's implying that there is a legal duty of care by saying they have a general duty of care, but there isn't one. And if they think there is one, where is it? Let's see the law. There is no law. And the fact that they say that more students, more young people take their lives out of university. Well, first of all, there's definitely a discrepancy in figures. Some of the people in our group haven't had their inquest yet, 4 years on. So I don't think that the measurement of the numbers is necessarily correct. But we lose one student every 4 or 5 days, and that's not okay. Just because they can't say. That doesn't make it okay, that the fact that more young people take their lives out of university is just so wrong. We lose 100 students a year who take their life. That's 100 too many. So obviously I don't remotely agree on any level. So what we need is a legal safeguarding framework, so that there's clarity and consistency across all universities to deliver the same standard across the country, because some unis are doing really well in their support, definitely, but some unis are doing really, really badly, and we can't have that. We've got to know that all universities are doing the same thing. Students know what to expect, parents will know that our children will be safe, and staff need to know what the extent of support is required and what their obligations are to do the right thing. They just don't. It's just a mess. and it all needs to be brought up to a standard. And monitoring and accountability should raise standards across the board. And I've not heard any justifiable reason as to why this shouldn't happen. Why not? Why would we not do this to help our students and support them and save lives? It's just, for me, it's just a complete no-brainer. So we've got to do it.
How are your sons, Hilary? Because, as you said, they've lost their sister, but what we haven't mentioned is that you lost your husband. They lost their father in all of this as well, to cancer.
Well, my sons are doing remarkably well. We're a great unit together. One of my sons, Hamish, is also keen on campaigning. He's done some podcasts and some speaking. He feels, she's going to hopefully do a master's in mental health. So, and my other son works for a charity now in Norfolk. So it's very much changed our lives, but we're a close unit, and we're getting through this. We're going to get through this together, and they're hugely supportive of me, which is fantastic. Like Phoebe would be. They're all saying, and Phoebe would be saying, "Go, Mum." So that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, I completely imagine that today will be difficult, as you say, because it's Mothering Sunday. But Hilary, we send you all of our very, very best wishes, and thank you so much for talking to us this morning.
Thanks so much for the time, and everyone, please go to learnnetwork.org and sign our petition. So we want open and honest debate in Westminster. That'd be absolutely amazing if the government could do this. So please keep supporting us. Hugely grateful to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilary. Thank you. Before we finish, we should just read a couple of things from Newcastle University. They say, Phoebe is remembered fondly as a talented and popular student. In her 18 months here, our dedicated wellbeing team provided her with ongoing support and counselling. The coroner in Phoebe's inquest, as we've said, could not identify any point where things could have been done differently by the university or by her private counsellor. Nonetheless, we continuously seek to improve support services and work with key partners to help any student struggling with their mental health. And Universities UK told us universities make particular efforts to prevent student suicides, including working with bereaved families. Every young life lost is one too many, but these deaths are rare. It is for government, not universities, to create the legal framework within which students learn. But if an additional legal duty is to be placed on universities, it is essential that this does not result in unintended consequences for students and improves mental health outcomes and safety for all. And if you have been affected by anything that we've talked about in the last 10 minutes or so, there are a range of organisations and websites that can offer you advice and support. You can find them listed on the BBC's Action Line website at bbc.co.uk/actionline.